The solemnity of the Annunciation of the Angel Gabriel to the Blessed Virgin Mary was celebrated in the Basilica of the Annunciation in Nazareth. The Orthodox Christian community participated in an ancient ceremony in Jerusalem on Holy Saturday. Thousands of the faithful gathered for the event. The significance of the Hebrew Passover in Jerusalem. We enter the kitchen of a Jewish family and learn about the role of food in this festival. The traditional exchange of greetings with representatives of Eastern churches at Easter, a sign of unity in the resurrection. The Armenian Bailan family has been known for their decorated ceramics since the beginning of the 20th century. Their grandchildren not only preserved this art, but developed something new. And now our feet are standing at your gates, Jerusalem. Religious festivals have transformed the old city in Jerusalem. In Nazareth, we are able to share something of the daily life of a typical yet unique Jewish family. We can see a traditional spring of Mary, where she might have gone to fetch water, the ruins of what is thought to be the home of her parents, the house where humanity was transformed, and the cave in which the angel Gabriel announced that Mary would be the mother of the Saviour. It is a great joy for us to be able to celebrate the Annunciation here in Nazareth, where Mary received the message of an angel to say yes, a human yes, which enabled humanity to share in divinity through the incarnation of the Word. Coincidentally this year, the Annunciation is celebrated by Latin or Western Catholics and by Orthodox Christians on the same day. So for us all, on this holy occasion, the central door of the Basilica of the Annunciation becomes an icon of Mary, through whom divinity was given to the world, and humanity, the new humanity of her Son, to heaven. This year, the solemnity of the Annunciation was celebrated on April the 9th, following the octave of Easter, as the feast would otherwise have coincided with Palm Sunday. The eve of Sunday, April the 8th, marked the solemn entry into the Basilica of the Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, Bishop Pier Battista Pizzaballa. Vespers were followed by a vigil of adoration in the grotto of the Annunciation. Mary said yes to a plan she could not fathom, having little idea of what would eventually take place. Yet she accepted a mission that was not her own, but in which she would participate. We too must have faith to take part in God's plan for the world.
Lavorare per il progetto di Dio nel mondo.
The Mass on the day itself was celebrated in the Upper Basilica by the Apostolic Administrator, and it ended with a procession during which Gospel accounts of the Annunciation were proclaimed. Also there were the Custos of the Holy Land, Friar Francesco Patton, a Bishop Emeritus of the Patriarchate, Camil Batish, and the Archbishop Emeritus of Trento, Luigi Brassan, who is contributing to a restoration of the grotto where the Word was made flesh. We saw that it was essential to contribute to the restoration and preservation of this unique place, for, from the Annunciation onwards, we can say that the history of humanity changed. Here, God became man because Mary said yes to her mission.
L'accettazione, certo, della Vergine Maria, della sua missione.
The Orthodox Christian celebration of Easter in Jerusalem was long awaited. According to the Julian calendar, kept by most Eastern churches, the resurrection of Christ was celebrated this year on April the 8th. In days leading up to the feast, the faithful of various origins, keeping various rites, commemorated the Passion of Jesus, culminating on Holy Saturday inside the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, with the ceremony of the Holy Fire. In a centuries-old tradition, it is believed that an angel visits the edicule, housing the tomb of Jesus, and ignites a lamp, alternately flaming for minutes before the ceremony. Each year, differing rites are celebrated in turn by Coptic, Syrian and Armenian clerics in the presence of thousands. There are processions of local Christians, accompanied by choirs, drumming, and the sounds of other instruments. Then the Greek Orthodox Patriarch, Theophilus III, makes his solemn entry, and having processed around the edicule 3 times, he enters the tomb in subdued lighting for the great event. The silence is broken by a joyful cry as the surrounding crowd acclaims the kindled fire. Within seconds, the fire spreads from candle to candle throughout the church and even throughout the world for the Easter celebrations. Christos anesti, alithos anesti. Christ is risen, he's risen indeed. Easter has been celebrated in Jerusalem, and in a convergence of calendars, Pesach or Passover has been observed more or less at the same time as the Christian celebrations. The celebrations begin on the evening between the 14th and 15th of the Jewish month of Nisan, a date which fell this year on March the 30th, coinciding with Good Friday, and lasting for 8 days, ending on Friday, April the 6th. Even if there is a certain discrepancy from a chronological point of view, it is clear from the Gospels that Jesus died and rose again precisely during the period of Passover. Being in Jerusalem at the time, when a lamb was sacrificed, Jesus became the new and sacrificial lamb, to pass over into the incomparable significance of Easter. Passover is rich in unfolding ritual. As Michael Sierra, a young Jew in Jerusalem, explains, a basic intention is to hand down to succeeding generations the memory of Passover through answering traditional questions. In this heritage, each Jew sees himself as being among the very Hebrews who set forth from Egypt. The story of liberation from slavery is central to the Seder, the Passover meal, which is shared on the first evening of the festival. Lines from the scroll of Exodus are analyzed at table, according to a rite known as the Haggadah. Why is this night different from any other, asks the youngest child present, and he is answered in an unfolding story. We also met Mirella, a Jewish woman of Swiss origin who came to Israel 40 years ago and who welcomed us into her kitchen.
We are here to prepare special Passover food. Everything has been made ready, as you might be able to see, and special care has been taken to ensure that there is not the slightest trace of yeast anywhere. This traditional precaution recalls, of course, the hasty departure by the Jews of Egypt, there having been no time to bake bread for which yeast is required. And so, in memory of this absence of bread, we eat matzah, or unleavened bread, throughout Passover.
E quindi in quel ricordo si mangiano azime tutta la settimana della Pasqua. Durante I giorni della Pasqua si mangiano dei cibi speciali.
During Pesach, we eat special traditional dishes. I will show you what we ate in my parents' home, as well as what is eaten by other families.
Quello che si mangiava a casa dei miei genitori, poi quello che si mangia anche in altre case.
Two typical dishes are pasta in broth, prepared only with egg and starch, and balls kneaded in flour made from finely ground matzah and cooked in a frying pan. Even utensils such as an old broth calendar inherited from grandparents, add to a memory of a people, as do family recollections. Once again this year, exchanges of Easter good wishes took place between the Latin and Orthodox churches in Jerusalem, members of various denominations gathering joyfully at the Orthodox Patriarchate. This was a genuine expression of respect, fraternity and common scholarship, and it represents a centuries-old tradition which we welcome because it remains to this day a precious sign of unity and brotherhood. There were two principal expressions, the first involving the friars of the custody of the Holy Land, and the second comprising churches established in the area and represented by the apostolic administrator of the Latin Patriarchate, Bishop Pier Battista Pizzaballa, and delegates from Syrian, Coptic and Ethiopian churches. It's an annual tradition. We meet first at the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate and follow this with reciprocal visits, exchanging best wishes. Sharing the joys of these festive days indicates our unity with other confessions, bringing us closer to each other and fostering the unity which Jesus asked of his disciples.
This custom to exchange greetings on these holy occasions, it is very important because we realize that we as Christians, we have to overcome our prejudice, our divisions, and thank God that this is a contribution to the process of our unity, of our sharing the same chalice, the same Eucharistic table. You're welcome.
Representatives greeted each other in speeches focused on fraternal unity and peace, sentiments inspired by these days which acclaim that Christ is risen indeed. In 1922, the Armenian Bailan family founded a ceramics factory in Jerusalem. Since then, the family's sons and nephews have inherited and preserved this ancient craft and continue to develop it.
جابوهم الإنجليز ب 1919 من كوتاهية تركيا لمدينة كان مشهورة.
In 1919, the British commissioned my family, then living in Kütahya in Turkey, a town famous for its ceramics, to restore tiles facing the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. And so it was that we moved here. We were welcomed, especially as victims of the 1915 genocide in Turkey, and today we are proud to be Armenian Palestinians.
هذا كان السيراميك الفلسطيني.
As well as making traditional domestic items, the Balian family has developed its art to become specialists in fashioning ceramic tables, murals and flooring, often gaining inspiration from the local environment. A successful application of this concerns the decoration of hotels and museums in Palestine.
We
are the only family involved in the creation of these murals, which range in size between 5 and 15 meters. We learnt this art from my mother, who died 5 months ago. She gained a wide reputation for her work, which has been made available in many countries. Various art is on display at the family museum, while much is for sale in a shop facing the factory. Reflecting age-old traditions, this art simultaneously approaches the future with innovation. I was glad when they said to me, "Let us go to the house of the Lord." And now our feet are standing at your gates, Jerusalem. Between late March and early April, religious festivals transformed the face of the old city in Jerusalem. Easter, according to the Latin rite. Easter in the Orthodox rite. And Pesach, the Jewish Passover. The tens of thousands of people who visited the city during this period seemed to be inspired by the words of the psalmist when he sang, "Ask for happiness in Jerusalem. May those who love her be at peace. May peace be within your walls, and serenity in your palaces."